Hello everybody, welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. My name is Hunter. On this Thursday, October the 16th, 2025, a big time storm system going to be bringing some severe weather to the United States in the form of damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes as we go into the weekend, especially on Saturday. We're going to pinpoint the exact areas at risk for severe weather and who could see tornadoes this Saturday. Also going to be looking at the long range forecasts across Canada, the United States, and North America, looking into Halloween weekend, and we're also going to be looking at the early portion of November and also your tropical weather update at the end. So make sure to like the video. We did not get close to 1,000 likes yesterday. Would love to hit that today. Also, be sure to share the video with a friend, family member, and on social media. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel here. We are less than 500 subscribers from 137,000. You want to help me get there on this video, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Again, we cover Canada, we cover the United States and the tropics, and be sure to turn on the post notification bell to all so you get all my videos, all my live streams on my weather forecast as well when I do post them. Let's look here at the severe weather risk briefly for Saturday. We'll go more in depth as the video goes on, but there is a slight risk of severe weather covering the entirety of the state of Arkansas, up into southeastern Missouri, a small chunk of southwestern Illinois, and even as far south here as Louisiana and Texas, also at risk for severe weather in that yellow shaded color. Again, that's a 2 out of 5 on the risk scale. The higher the number, the more likely the chance for severe weather. Again, more on that in a moment. Let's talk temperatures because it is a warm one out there, feeling more like spring and early summer with those 80s as far north as Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, and even into the Kansas City area, 84, mid 80s this afternoon. Record highs from Memphis down to Greenville, Mississippi here are to be broken this afternoon into the low 90s perhaps. As we go into Friday, more record highs possible from Little Rock down there toward Greenville, Mississippi yet again, with more of those upper 80s to low 90s. By the time we get to Saturday, notice the cold front starting to come through. Cooler to the north, into the 50s we are, into the Dakotas and northwest Minnesota on Saturday. Record heat from portions of central Texas, or what we call Texas Hill Country, all the way to Nashville and Middle Tennessee. We could be seeing upper 80s to mid 90s range for Saturday, and then a big dip in our temperatures as we go to Sunday here. Some areas could drop a good 25 degrees between Saturday and Sunday alone. So a kind of a tale of two seasons this weekend for some of you folks out there. And not only during the day are we seeing those record high temperatures, we're seeing record warm lows as well, including tomorrow morning in the Minneapolis Twin Cities region here. We are going to be seeing some low 60s starting off your Friday, even in Des Moines as well at 63. And then as we go into Saturday, those record warm lows from Gary, Indiana, all the way back to Abilene, Texas are going to be in play with the upper 50s to mid 60s out there starting off your Saturday. And then here comes the cool front, probably talking about a frost freeze risk across the north central plains, the Black Hills region of the Dakotas, for example, even the panhandle of Nebraska dealing with a hard freeze or frost risk heading into Sunday morning for the weekend. Keeping an eye on that. Over the next 3 days, we're going to be keeping tabs on the thunderstorm risk, possibly a strong storm or two from southwest Nebraska into northwest Kansas this afternoon, mainly with a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. Quarter-size hail threat, tornado threat is very low today. Then as we go into tomorrow on Friday, October 17th, that shifts a little bit further east, also including more of a metropolitan areas here. Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, Oklahoma City, Stillwater, and Tulsa, keeping a very close eye on these areas. Again, should be pretty isolated, but we could be seeing those 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail on Friday. Isolated brief tornado cannot be ruled out. But the big day here is to be on Saturday, October 18th. Slight risk for severe weather in yellow. Again, we already alluded that the entire state of Arkansas is at risk for some severe weather. In the yellow, that's where we could be seeing scattered severe thunderstorms. In the dark green, extending up for our friends in Indianapolis, Terre Haute, all the way up there to Toledo and Dayton, Ohio. Those areas have an isolated threat for severe weather heading into the day on Saturday. And again, all areas of damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes will be possible on Saturday. Again, more on that in a minute. Let's look at the next couple of days. Plenty of sunshine across the east as we go into this afternoon. Some cloud cover there, maybe some backwash moisture from a low pressure system in the North Atlantic could be moving through coastal and eastern portions of Maine. Otherwise, plenty of sunshine here from start to finish as we go through the day today. And we're going to start to see some higher level clouds creeping in from the west as we start the day on Friday from portions of the Ohio River Valley down here into the Cumberland Plateau into middle and eastern Tennessee. And then as we go through the day, we're going to see those clouds thicken and they'll lower here as well. So be more overcast for the Ohio Valley down into the Tennessee Valley and southeast as we go into tomorrow afternoon. And then as we go into Friday evening, maybe some showers on the lighter side, possibly moving across the Great Lakes, Lake Erie. So Erie, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, up there toward Buffalo, New York, could be seeing some showers as we go into Friday night. That is a possibility. Now looking at the central U.S., we have a mix of sun and clouds across the central plains into the Midwest here this afternoon. Low pressure system churning up there into eastern Wyoming, into South Dakota, will promise some showers and storms across portions of Nebraska into South Dakota this afternoon. None of these are expected to become severe, at least on a widespread scale, but some stronger thunderstorms, heavier downpours, claps of lightning and thunder definitely possible there. And then you can see some snowfall in higher elevations there in Wyoming as well, with the colder air loft on the backside of the low pressure system. And then going to start the day on Friday, we're going to see a lot of cloud cover overspreading the Midwest. Looks like an overcast day for Chicago, Peoria, St. Louis, down there toward Nashville. That is expected on Friday. A couple showers could be wrung out of that cloud cover, but it looks to be on the lighter side, sprinkles, isolated drizzle as we go through the evening hours. Western U.S., we got the higher elevation snows, as we alluded to, into Wyoming and into Montana, even eastern portions of Idaho. Plenty of clearing, though, and across the desert southwest as we go through this afternoon in the wake of that system, and then more mid-level, high-level clouds moving in across the Pacific Northwest for your day on Friday. We'll call it a partly cloudy to mostly cloudy sky across the Pacific Northwest. Higher elevation snows in southeastern British Columbia, Canada, and southern Alberta may be possible as we go into Friday, as a system comes down here from the north from Canada, and that could actually move into Montana for Friday night, possibly with some higher elevation wet snowflakes. Now again, Saturday's the day to watch for severe weather. Make sure you have your NOAA weather radio turned on, ready to go for Saturday. If you're taking a nap in the afternoon, you're going to sleep Saturday night, make sure it is programmed to your specific city, your specific county, so it wakes you up and alerts you for any warnings out there, especially for tornado warnings. And here's the setup, right? We got a low pressure system up in Ontario, cold front attached to that. We got a secondary low developing into Oklahoma, moving into Missouri and Arkansas with a dry line cold front combo with that as well. So that is going to produce a lot of moisture, nudging it northward from the Gulf into Arkansas, into Missouri, the Ozarks region, 60s dew points. That could yield some moderate levels of instability for this time of year, around 2,000, 2,500 joules per kilogram. More than enough energy for storms. Then you look at the wind shear aspect of this. We got a neutrally tilted trough here. You can see kind of that cereal bowl type look, and then you can see the winds lift back up in the atmosphere. That's the lift we have along those fronts. And then we look at the low level jet, right? This is the low level jet that actually is responsible for tornado genesis near the surface of the earth. And because it's going to start to strengthen late Saturday afternoon, early Saturday evening, I think that would be the peak of the tornado threat, and that could be across the majority of the state of Arkansas, being on alert for the potential of tornadoes up there into the boot heel of Missouri. I think that's the prime area we're watching for tornado potential. But even outside that area, we could still see tornadoes, even as far east and north as Ohio and Indiana, or as far south and west as Texas. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that for Saturday. Here is what the parameter is called. It's the STP. It's significant tornado parameter. The higher the value, the more rotation there is in the atmosphere on Saturday. And notice those values are low in the morning, early afternoon, but you start to see these oranges and yellows popping up. That's around 2 to 5s on the scale. And that gives you an idea of the potential that these storms could have to produce some tornadoes. A little bit of rotation could produce a tornado here across portions of the Mid-South. Now, looking here at the radar, what it could look like going into Saturday morning, ongoing storms from, say, Jefferson City, north and west of Joplin, over here towards Wichita and the northern side of OKC Metro. So Stillwater, Enid over there towards Tulsa, keeping an eye on that Saturday morning, 7-8 a.m. Those storms will be moving eastward here with time, and I think they're going to become more intense as we start to get more of that daytime heating. The moisture, the instability, the wind shear, all coming together. It's all about how those ingredients come together, and that could produce some supercells, even some lines of storms that may kind of bow out a little bit. That could produce more 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts and some quarter-size hail, along with a heavy rain and flash flooding risk. So be keeping an eye on that. I'm not too worried about the flash flooding risk, just due to the fact that here's the latest drought monitor. A lot of drought ongoing in a lot of these areas at risk for severe weather. So a lot of the rain should run off, but there potentially could see some flash flooding if a lot of this comes down in a short amount of time. Speaking of rainfall totals, going through 7 a.m. on Monday, October 20th, could potentially be seeing it on the order of 1 to 3 inches of rain. Nice soaking rains from Michigan down here to Indiana and Illinois and further east. A little bit drier for the desert Southwest, and then picking back up with moisture across the Pacific Northwest through Monday. Snowfall going to be confined to the northern Rockies, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, as we go here into the day on Saturday and Sunday. And then you look north again, it's the same theme. A lot of that colder air being bottled up across western Canada. That's where we're going to be seeing more of the feet of snow across the western coastline of Alaska and British Columbia through the weekend. Now, heading into next week, Monday, October 20th through Friday, October 24th, trough across the northeast. That's the remnants of our system this weekend. Ridging, at least a week at first, moving across the west. That will promote a rebound in our temperatures as we go into next week. So the central United States, we'll call it the Great Plains. That is where we're going to be seeing some above normal temperatures coming back into the mix. A little bit cooler in the wake of our storm system with some cloud cover precipitation into early next week. That will hold our averages down across the east and out west as well. And we look at the precipitation next week, we're going to see a drier slot of weather behind that as we go in towards next week. A little bit wetter for the northeast, closer in proximity to that trough. Now we're looking here at the individual European model, and you can see it kind of follows suit there, where you see drier weather in between, maybe a little bit of wet weather towards South Texas. That would not be a bad thing. Great Lakes Northeast, especially the Northeast here, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. You guys could get a little bit more rainfall here than you have been seeing. And according to the GFS, probably pretty much in agreement, except the Pacific Northwest, a lot more bullish there on the GFS. The European model not as strong with the rainfall. The GFS a lot more rainfall for Seattle. So we'll have to hash that out as we get closer to next week. Let's talk about the longer range. Let's go towards Halloween and early November. Big time polar jet on the outer side of our stable polar vortex for now, right? We're getting closer to winter, so we can't say it's going to be stable all winter, but there's going to be a pretty powerful and, shall I say, juggernaut type of jet stream just to the west of Alaska, crashing down along the Aleutian Islands toward the west coast. And what this typically brings is a lot of variability in our pattern. There's a large blob of warm water over here in the North Pacific. That could mean we could have ahead of these storms a lot of warmth and humidity. That could increase the heavy rain and severe weather threat. And then behind these storms, a lot of big punches of cold air, as some of that cold air from the snowpack that we mentioned in British Columbia, Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Alaska, starting to crash southward as well over that snowpack, bringing some cooler air. So as we get towards Halloween and beyond here into the first week or so of November, we'll say through Veterans Day on the 11th, there's going to be a lot of variability in our pattern. We're going to have some warm days, potentially record-breaking heat, and then we're going to be seeing some cool days, potentially with some record-breaking cool weather. So that is the variability we are seeing as we go through that time frame. And that could bring a lot of ups and downs. Some dry weather, some wet weather, some rainfall, some snowfall, some severe weather. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that as we go through the first week or so of November. Let's turn over and talk about the tropics. There has been a new addition to the Caribbean. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida has a 20% chance, a low chance for now, but a chance we have to watch nonetheless. First real potential system in the Caribbean this season. And then over here on the Pacific side, we have a 50% chance, flip of a coin, we could have a system developing near the Mexico coast. Let's first talk about the Atlantic side, because over the next 7 days, the Caribbean, we're going to lower the pressure underneath here, and we could be seeing a formidable system starting to develop. There are some members that are showing mid-grade, even strong tropical storm characteristics. Others are pretty weak, and typically a weaker system will go and drift further to the west. So that is what we'll keep an eye on. And the waters out here are basically pristine in the Caribbean. Not a lot of systems have developed this season, homegrown in the Caribbean, so this will be something to keep an eye on for rapid intensification if a system can develop here. Now, in the East Pacific, there again are some members that are stronger. They gain latitude closer to the Baja if it becomes a stronger tropical storm or hurricane. A weaker system, such as a weak tropical storm or tropical depression, will kind of stay a little bit more westbound and avoid the coastline of Mexico and kind of drift a little bit further to the west, similar to the storms we talked about in the Atlantic. And the waters are warm enough, especially near the coast. Those shelf waters near the coast of Mexico, Central America there are pretty warm. The further west this goes, the cooler the water will be and the weaker the system will be. So that's what we'll keep an eye on there on the Pacific side as well. Hey, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure again to like the video. We're looking for 1,000 likes here in today's video. I'd love to get to that number today. Also share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel, and when you do, turn it to all so you get all my videos, all my live streams when I do post them to my YouTube channel. We cover Canada, we cover the United States and the tropics and all of North America. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support, everybody, and have a wonderful and safe rest of your Thursday out there.